this meditation, what is it exactly? And how do you do it? How do we do it if we're not a monk? Because the only people that I have seen who are benefiting, or it seems like they're benefiting from this meditation exercise, are usually, it makes me think of Buddhist monks or people who do yoga. How does a person who doesn't have a background in meditation learn this, to do it, and to gain results from it? Many people suffer from a busy mind and restlessness, and you always hear people tell you, try meditation. And it sounds very simple. The basic instruction is sit down on the floor with your legs crossed, if you can. If not, sit on a chair and close your eyes and clear your mind. Push the thoughts away. And how's that going to work? If I sit down or cross my legs? So how does the mind stop thinking just because I sit down, cross my legs, and close my eyes? If I sit down and cross my legs, or sit on a chair with my eyes open, and if I order my mind to stop thinking, it usually doesn't. Just because I close my eyes, my mind is going to listen to me? It doesn't work. I don't think that's the answer. I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's going to suffice. I don't think that's going to work. I think the mind is a lot more challenging to shut down with these two basic instructions, and this is mostly what's being told. Just because the eyes are closed, the mind is not going to stop. Even if we try to stop the thoughts. So another instruction is to focus on something, like your breath or a white sound, I've tried it, and the maximum I could focus is the same with my friends. It's about 10 to 15 seconds, not even, maybe less than 10 seconds of focusing on the breath, and then that focus is gone. The mind is like waiting for something. It's trying to understand what's happening with this meditation. It's trying to break it down. Think of the breath, okay? Keep your eyes closed. Focus on the inhale. Focus on the exhale. It's trying to analyze the meditation process. So it's still busy. Then there's, sounds. Our senses, we can feel the wind or smell something, or like we can hear something, and the senses trigger additional sensations, emotions, thoughts, you name it, it's all there. And when the eyes are closed, it seems like they're even more amplified. So how? What is this meditation? How do the monks do it? Because truly, when you look at people who have the discipline, who do it regularly, they seem to be calmer, more at ease. They're not very reactive. Another question is, who's going to do the meditation? Is it my mind that has to do the meditation, or something else? Because the mind is task oriented. Another thing is, people are interested in meditation for their health, to give them a peace of mind. But how do you get interested in sit down, keep your spine erect, close your eyes, and focus on your breath? How can the mind, or what part of that is interesting? Because if the mind is the tool, the venue, the way to get there, mind usually needs to be interested in what it's doing. So if that's all we got, how is this going to work? If you don't go with the interesting approach, then we are told, relax, be at ease, and then they have these guided meditations, right? So when I listen to them and relax, I drift to sleep. So too much of relaxing puts me to sleep, puts you to sleep. Struggling with these questions and trying to get out of my mind, one day, a few friends, we went to a dance. Salsa, tango, all kinds. And we had a good time. Music was great. People were wonderful. And as we were leaving, this one guy caught my attention. He had a different demeanor. He had this deep peacefulness about him. And I went up to him and I said, hello. He said, hi. And directly I said, how do you do that? How do you become the way you are? And guess what the answer was? He smiled. And I heard that word again. He said, I meditate. So, seeing that this person obviously was good at this meditation business, I asked, how? So he goes, You got to go beyond the mind. You got to drop the mind. So my mind is thinking, how do you go beyond the mind? How do you drop the mind? Where do you drop it? I mean, these words, these sentences, they're concepts, but how, as a human being, how do I make sense out of it? How do I get there? How do you do it? Something that I've never done before. It's so alien. Where do you start? So he goes, you see the sky? Sunny day, LA, beautiful, blue sky, 350 days a year. He says, what do you see in the sky? The sun, a few clouds, and he says, sometimes you can see the moon too during the day. I said, yeah, that's true. What about nighttime? When it's, let's say, pitch black, moonless night. What do you see then? Full of stars, right? The Milky Way. So where are the stars during the day? So the simple answer is we can't see the stars because of the sun. But the stars are there. It's the same, similar phenomenon if it's an overcast day and it's daytime, the sun is still there, but because of the clouds, the cloud layers, you can't see the sun. But what got me was all those stars that come out at night. You can't see them in the day. And this fellow said, during meditation, you can and you get to see the stars all the time. Or you can see the sun even on an overcast day. So how is that? That sounds beautiful. How do you? That's even more crazy. It sounds great. That's like, huh. He's talking about dropping the mind, leaving the mind behind, going beyond the mind. And now we're gonna see the stars whenever we want to. This is how my journey with meditation started. Going after those stars. This fellow, as he was leaving, turned around and told me one more thing. And I think that was one of the keys that opened the door. And he said, look at nature. Look at a sunset. Or the stars. Or the trees. Or the sky. And what you will see when you focus is that there is stillness. And that stillness is so deep, it's so grounded that it grounds you. That sunset, the color, the shape, it just makes the mind stop. When you look at the beauty of that sunset, or when you lose yourself in the stars in the sky, this is the moment we let go. And it's very natural. This is the moment when the mind falls back, when we drop the mind by itself. This stillness connects us to the silence within us. Many years later, listening to Eckhart Tolle talking about the same thing, he was giving a speech somewhere. His words were, if we are able to focus on the stillness, we feel the silence within us, and vice versa, if we're able to focus into the stillness within us, we feel the silence. Then we can focus on the silence outside of us, around us. So what is this trying to say? What is Eckhart trying to say? The stillness in nature helps us drop the mind and connect to the silence within us. And if we are able to, during meditation, sitting in meditation, if we reach the silence within us, we can connect to the stillness outside of us. If we are able to focus in the stillness within us, then we go beyond the noise on the outside and focus to the silence outside of us. It is such a deep state of silence. It is such a deep state of peacefulness. It is such a relief from the non-stop of the mind going all day. This is when the real healing happens. We get a break. Even a minute. Actually, they say if you can do 1 minute, if you can reach total silence, totally grounded, stillness, 1 minute out of 24 hours, it is of huge benefit to the mind, relaxes the mind, increases the focus, gives us peace, and heals the body and the soul. Just 1 minute. This is what they have told me. A great meditation teacher said, if you're able to reach 1 minute of pure stillness and silence within you, he said you will have 50% more energy, vitality to do all your tasks, whatever you're doing, whatever you need to do all through the day. Isn't that something? So we were going to say, let's find a more interesting and more attractive name for this amazing exercise. Why don't we call it a sky full of stars?